We thank you so much for coming on live now from Fox today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, of course. Well, of course, the Secret Service can't afford another assassination attempt. So what can we expect in terms of today with security?
Well, without a doubt, today is the biggest day for the Secret Service in recent history. A former president returning to the site of a potential assassination is unprecedented. And we're going to see some of the upgraded security measures for the former president while the rally is going on. And I have to say, this is probably going to be the most viewed rally, political rally in recent times as well. But behind the scenes, this feels like a episode of The Real Housewives, because you have Secret Service who threw law enforcement under the bus. Then you have a hearing where the law enforcement got to vindicate themselves, and a Senate report that talks a little bit more about the breakdown in security. So I'm hoping that they have the counter surveillance teams in place, that the perimeter's a little expanded a little bit more. And since they've known he's coming back there have been some extra challenges to take care of, but hopefully they went through their checklist and got all that taken care of.
And again, there was that second assassination attempt just weeks later on the golf course. In terms of protocol within the Secret Service, after these two past assassination attempts, what has changed within the agency? And maybe not just for Trump, right, but for protecting President Biden as well as Vice President Kamala Harris?
Well, every assassination or assassination attempt in the past has caused changes in the Secret Service. The problem I have with the golf course incident is because the Secret Service acting director went out and talked about how the former president has the same package as President Biden at the time of the golf course incident. However, when President Trump was president, the vulnerabilities at that golf course were covered by Secret Service agents, and this time they weren't. So inside the golf course, he's a little bit more protected. You got to find the vulnerabilities, and if you're going to beef it up to where we're at sitting president levels, you've got to take those vulnerabilities, because the person can't get past the perimeter. He can't get in to see and get close to the former president for an assassination attempt.
And local law enforcement in Butler is also playing a part in this. How much preparation does it take ahead of time? They know he's coming back. What steps need to be put in place with local law enforcement?
Well, first off, the communication has to be fixed. So the minute the former president mentioned he might be going back, they needed to get together and get that communications fixed. I doubt the Secret Service is going to let anyone on their personal comms or their internal comms, but I'm hoping at least in the command center, they have a law enforcement agent or sheriff's deputy or somebody on the ground in that command center. So when they get a call, there's something suspicious, that they can go directly to the team that's protecting Trump directly.
I do want to talk about the site of where this happened, the Butler rally site. If you remember, open space. What are some of the vulnerabilities there or challenges that the Secret Service has to consider?
Well, the number one thing is you want to have the high ground secure. So water tower, top of the AGR buildings. Now, if the perimeter's expanded, now you have the trees that are surrounding the areas, but you also have to look at other businesses that are nearby if the perimeter is expanded. But also, since you're coming back and there was an assassination attempt previously, you want to make sure, you want to find out, your advance team, are there any new employees at AGR? Are there any new maintenance workers? Are there any changes that have happened, anything built or installed since the last time the former president there, and run through with the dogs, run through with agents to make sure that nothing's been put in the trees or any of the surrounding areas that in the past event were outside the perimeter.
I did also want to ask, we are expecting a large number of people in the thousands. So does that pose a risk to the security? And what are we going to see this time around in terms of screening that maybe we didn't see the first time, or has that not changed?
I don't know that the screening process is going to change, but what has to change is the counterintelligence teams inside the facility. That is a major asset when you have those folks on the ground. They'll be separated in different areas, and they'll communicate with each other on seeing potential suspicious characters walking through the crowd. That was lacking last time. They were not on the ground last time. So that is a huge piece that we don't see every day, where someone is in the crowd, for instance, rope lines. Someone is in the crowd in the back watching hands. If people are close to the president with hands in the pocket, somebody will tap and get their hands out of their pockets before they go shake the hand. We don't see that every day, but those units have to be in place this time.
I do want to just talk about the first two assassination attempts and get your perspective on how the question people have is, how did this happen, right? How did it get this close two times now? What were the security failures on, in your opinion? How did it get that close for a second time?
In my opinion, it started in the field office when they did the pre-advance, where they looked at the view of it on Google or whatever mapping system they use to figure out what the perimeter was. And the decision to make that perimeter smaller, I can't believe the entire advanced team wanted it that small, but that was the major factor, because if you have the normal presidential perimeter, that kid doesn't get through. The shooter doesn't get that close. He can't fly a drone. He can't get in there with a rangefinder, park in a law enforcement parking lot. The perimeter is the number one thing in advance, at least on our team. First thing we look for on the ground is the perimeter. And that's what all the pre-advance work is for. And that's why you maintain the high ground as well, to maintain that perimeter.
Frank, anything else that you'd like to add to this that maybe you think I didn't ask you about?
No, I just hope everything, everyone is going to watch this. When we watch the Winter Olympics, my wife jokes that I want to see what ice skater falls. People are going to watch this event, and they're going to look for and nitpick. The reason why we do these things and we analyze this stuff isn't to place blame on any one agency or any one person. It's to make sure we get better. Every assassination in the past we've criticized and looked at, but something's come out of that. That we don't go in convertible cars anymore. We don't do open pickup and drop-offs. We don't do kitchens with all the kitchen employees in the kitchen. We make arrangements and change things throughout. So it's not a nitpick and trying to blame the Secret Service agents, because those guys, they take bullets every day if they had to for the former president, and those guys on the ground deserve America's gratitude.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Frank, for coming on bright and early. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
No problem.